Hey everyone, this is Rob over here at BuneBape, and I hope you're having an amazing day. Today I'll be bringing you all another old school RuneScape guide, and this time it's going to be on the brand new skilling boss, the Fishing Boss Tempoross. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know from how to get there, what the best strategies were, and my experiences with it. So hopefully you like this video. If you do, make sure to drop a like, and if there's something I could do better, let me know down in the comments below. If you want to see more old school RuneScape content just like this, make sure to subscribe so you get notified whenever I come out with new content. Now with all that out of the way, let's jump into the guide. Alright, so first things first, you're going to actually need to select the correct world to begin with. So as far as world selection goes, there are going to be 4 options for anyone in the different regions. Of course, you can join whichever, but you're going to have the best ping and connection on your respective server. With the first being World 341 as the UK server, 422 as the US server, World 463 as the German server, and last but not least, World 531 as the Australian server. So of course, as with other minigames, these are just the designated suggested worlds. So if you plan on soloing or duoing this boss with a couple of friends, you can choose any of the other worlds and they're likely to be open. Alright, cool. So now that you have your proper world sorted out, I'm going to tell you how to get there. So your journey is going to start in Unkah. So you're either going to want to teleport there with an Amulet of Glory, or from your house, or simply use the Lumbridge teleport that everyone starts with and walk over to Unkah. So now that you're in Unkah, walk just south of the bank and you're going to want to talk to Ferryman Sathwood, and he'll take you all the way down to Unkah, or the ruins of Unkah. So now that you've arrived here, this is going to be your base of operations for fighting Tempoross, the fishing boss. So like most minigames, this place is actually going to have pretty much everything you need, from a merchant that sells fishing supplies to a bank and even a polling station. Lastly, there's also a really small mining area to the north of the camp. Now that you're familiar with your new base of operations, you're nearly ready to go fight Tempoross, the fishing boss, but before that, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to bring. So as far as clothing and armor goes, just bring anything that could be useful. So bring graceful clothes if you have it, or also fishing clothes would be a really good option. You don't actually take any damage while in this minigame, which is really nice, so you won't have to waste any inventory space on food or bring any armor or anything like that. You're just going to need the useful clothes as well as a harpoon. If you can use and afford a dragon or a crystal harpoon, then that is going to be highly recommended, as that will increase the amount of fish you're able to catch. This of course will increase how much XP you're able to get per hour, but even more so with the crystal harpoon, because there's a 1 in 3 chance of catching a crystallized harpoon fish, which will earn you some more XP. On top of that, if you have an infernal harpoon, the passive for cooking fish will also apply, offering a 1 in 3 chance while catching harpoon fish to cook them automatically. Like I said, both of these things are going to save you a ton of time and also increase your experience per hour. But no worries, if you can't use or afford a dragon or crystal harpoon, then you can just simply use the standard harpoon, which can be found even on the ship once you start the minigame. Speaking of stuff that you find on the ship, you can of course bring these things your own, but they supply them for you for free, which is going to be a bucket, rope, and a hammer. Occasionally you're going to need to use 1 or all 3 of these things, but luckily, like I said, they do supply them for free on the boat once you start the minigame, so don't look for it when you're on the boat, but once you actually cross over to start fighting Tempoross. Alright, so with your clothes and your harpoon in hand, you're pretty much ready to go. Whenever you are ready, go up to the boat and click on the ladder next to the sailor. This will have you teleported onto the boat, and then once there's enough people and everyone's ready, it'll send you over to the island where you fight Tempoross. This is a very similar minigame method as fishing trawler or also pest control. So whenever you do land, there are going to be 2 boats as well as 2 docks with Tempoross in between them. As far as I can tell, there's no real difference on which side you spawn. Now that you've landed, this game is actually extremely similar to how Wintertodt plays out. You're going to want to go and fish at one of the 2 spawn locations as soon as you get off the boat. And once you have a full inventory, you're given 2 options. The first option being that you go and cook all of your fish. The second option being that you decide not to cook and that you simply go and throw the fish as they are. I'll get to a couple of the key reasons why you might want to do one or the other. So once you've collected your fish, cooked or not, you go back up to the boat and then supply the cannons with your fish ammunition, and because they're harpoon fish, naturally they do damage to Tempoross. Okay, so now that you and your team have supplied enough harpoon fish to take down Tempoross, you'll see that his energy has dropped down to 0. Once his energy has dropped down to 0, you're going to want to run over to the dock in the center and attack Tempoross as much as possible. This will be notified by the bar under the energy bar in the top left showing his essence. Once his essence is at 0, you will have defeated Tempoross. Congratulations, and that is going to be pretty much it. It might take you 2 or even 3+ tries depending on how many people are doing it, as well as if they're cooking their fish or not. And let me clarify, by tries I mean how many times Tempoross will submerge and then come back up. It's likely you won't be able to one phase him, although I have a couple times. It's kind of rare, and your team really needs to know what they're doing in order to kill him on the first submerge. So like I said, it's likely he's going to submerge and pop up 2, maybe even 3 times. So a couple things you're going to want to keep in mind is that you have the rope and water in your inventory for a reason. It's very common that throughout the fight, he's going to summon a large tsunami type wave, and you'll notice this because in the chat window, there's going to be talks about a colossal wave, and this will show up in red text. On top of that, your screen will slowly start to turn blue, and it'll look like a wave is going across it. Once this starts happening, go over to the closest totem, or if you're on a ship, go to the mast of the ship and click on it. With the rope, you'll tie yourself to one or the other and you'll be safe from the tsunami. As for the bucket of water, you'll see during the fight that there's these little black clouds running around, and occasionally those clouds are going to strike and actually leave little bits of fire around, and you're going to need to put those out as soon as possible. For either getting caught up in the tsunami or running into the fire, they both have the same consequence in that you will lose some of your fish as well as some of the tools out of your inventory. So it's a really good idea to avoid getting caught up in the tsunami. And if you do run across any fire that's in your way, make sure to pour your bucket of water on it. But I found also that if there is a bunch of fire around and you wait for a little bit, his tsunami will actually put all the fires out all at once. Lastly, the hammer in your inventory can be pretty useful. A couple times it actually came in really clutch for me earlier. I was about to get washed away, but sometimes the totems as well as the masts of the ship will break. And in that case, you're going to need a hammer to repair them, so you allow yourself to tie yourself to it. It's really unfortunate if you do need to tie yourself to a mast and it's broken, then you'll simply be washed away and you'll be really sad and upset at yourself that you didn't have a hammer. He does also have one lesser attack, which doesn't really interrupt gameplay, but it will take down one of the 2 cannons on your side, so simply switch to the other cannon until both of them become operational again. So the final thing to be aware of is his storm intensity bar. Once that reaches 100, you'll be forced to retreat, so make sure you defeat him before it actually reaches that 100%. So that's pretty much going to be it. You're now a master of fighting Tempoross, but I'm going to move on to the different strategies that I found to be the most useful now. Alright, so going back to whether you should cook your fish or not, this is actually, funny enough, very similar to the argument that everyone has at Wintertodt every once in a while on whether you should fletch or not. So cooking is great because you'll get way more points in the game so that you could potentially get more rewards. It also does more damage to Tempoross, so it'll make him submerge faster, overall making the entire minigame potentially faster. Unfortunately, you get so few cooking experience, it's not really worth mentioning at all. But I found that if you wanted to get anywhere near as much experience per hour that they were advertising, for instance 70,000 at 70 fishing, which is about my level, I found that I had to not cook. By doing this, this will allow you to launch much more fish at Tempoross, equaling much more experience, because you get very few experience from fishing itself, and the majority of it is actually going to come from how many fish you shoot at him, as well as how much damage you deal when he is submerged. So very much just like Wintertodt, it's really up to you on whether you should cook or not, and it totally depends on your different goals. I was able to get around 55,000 experience per hour if I was cooking. And on top of that, I'd get anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 points, which would equal to about 4 to 6 tickets. Now, in stark contrast to that, if I didn't cook and just simply got as much experience per hour, I'd get pretty dang close to that 70,000 that they were advertising, but I would only end up getting about 2,500 points, which is just 1, maybe 2 tickets. So whether you choose getting a really high XP per hour or getting more rewards, it's really going to be up to you and your preference at the end of the day. But also make sure to get at least 2,000 points, because that's going to be the cutoff for getting any reward at all after you kill Tempoross. Personally, I ended up going with the more rewards option because unfortunately it is a bit slower as far as experience goes, but I'm really interested in some of the cool stuff you can get, and also it'd be awesome to get that pet. But I'll talk more about the loot later. The last thing that I wanted to mention for strategy is to be aware of the different types of fishing holes. So all the fishing holes, you'll get the same fish and the same amount of fish except for one. If you notice in a couple of these clips that I have here, there's actually fishing spots with fish jumping out of the fishing holes. Those are highly valuable, and you're going to want to cut off whatever fishing you're doing to go and use those fishing holes instead, because while the fish are jumping out of it, there's a chance that you catch the fish that is jumping, doubling how many fish you're going to be able to get. So this will greatly increase your experience and your efficiency. It'll increase your experience and your points per hour. So I'd highly recommend doing this and going out of your way, like I said, to make sure you're getting those double fish. All right, so great. Hopefully now by this point you've defeated Tempoross a couple times and you're wondering where to get all the sweet loot. So in order to obtain your reward for successfully taking down Tempoross, you're going to want to look for a man next to the dock that is sitting crisscross. In front of him is going to be a literal reward pool, which is going to have everything that you've earned up to this point as far as rewards go. Once you bring a net, big or small, you can go and retrieve them from the reward pool. It'll be a bunch of different things, anywhere from noted fish. Of course, this is going to be based on your fishing level, plus a small amount of other resources such as planks. And what's nice is you also have a small chance of getting a new casket type reward, which, like the other caskets from treasure trails, will actually stack. So that's actually really nice. A couple other notable rewards that you're going to be able to get is spirit flakes. This is going to provide a 50% increased chance of catching an extra fish. This will provide no extra experience and won't work in the minigame itself, but if you plan on catching a bunch of fish, this will definitely help you out. The next thing is going to be a fish barrel. This is actually pretty cool and can store a total of 28 raw fish. It's exactly like the looting bag for the wilderness, but for raw fish. You can combine this with the fish sack, which can be purchased with Mulk pearls from Alri the angler on Mulk Island. And once you combine those two, you can actually wear the fish sack and fish barrel combo on your back as a cosmetic item in the cape slot, which is pretty awesome. Another more notable drop is going to be the tackle box. Now, these things that I'm talking about are extremely rare, so don't expect to see them anytime soon. But it's great because the tackle box provides a ton of additional storage. They say that effectively it can fit up to a maximum number of items, being 2.1 billion, and that includes all the items you would need for fishing, such as rods, feathers, bait, as well as the angler's outfit. Of course, they said that you can only put one infernal or crystal harpoon in there, but it's going to be extremely rare, like I said, and it's going to be extremely worth it, especially for all those Iron Men out there. Of course, another notable item that everyone has been looking forward to is the Tome of Water, as well as the Soaked Pages. So most of you know from Wintertodt the Tome of Fire. This one is going to be less based on damage and more based on its utility. It gives you unlimited water runes when charged, makes it so standard spellbook water, curse, and binding spells accuracy is increased by 20%, as well as water spell damage is increased by 20%. So this could be something great for all the PKers out there and stuff like that. So this might be something you want to check out if that's what you like to do. So some good news, if you have the angler's outfit but want a recolor, this will actually give you the option to recolor your angler's outfit to a spirit angler. And also once you've fully recolored it and are wearing the full spirit angler's outfit, it's great because it'll actually save you a slot because you won't need to bring a rope anymore, as the outfit will be used as the rope itself. Coming up on the last couple of notable rewards, of course, there's going to be a very small chance that you can actually get a dragon harpoon after killing Tempoross, which is going to be a really nice surprise for any of us that get lucky enough. And also the thing I'm looking forward to the most, of course, is going to be the Tempoross pet. So you won't be able to get the Heron pet here, but you can get a recolor for it. So the pet you're actually going to be looking forward to in this minigame is going to be called the Tiny Tempor, which is just a really small version of Tempoross. So it's going to look like a cute little water elementals following you around, which is great. And like I said, if you did want to recolor for your Heron that you already have from fishing via other methods, then that's going to be really exciting for you. So wow, that was a lot of information, but this is a new minigame with a lot to go over. So if I talked a little fast or something wasn't clear, then I'm gonna have a bunch of timestamps down in the description so you can jump around to a specific part of the video if there's something that you didn't quite get. And of course, like I said, this is a brand new minigame, so this is all the information I have from a little bit of research as well as playing the game for a few hours. So if there's something that changed or something I didn't throw in, or that was even just straight up wrong, let me know in the comments below so I can correct myself. And of course, if there was anything that I didn't go over or that was confusing, also throw that in the comments as I read and respond to all of them. I really hope you enjoyed the video and that at least helped someone out. Overall, I'm loving the minigames so far. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. And this is really great fun. I'm gonna keep doing this for a while, so expect more Tempoross videos from me soon. So with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all very soon.